Hi, Paul Hefty here with the Triangle O football system. I want to talk about the foundation to our drop back pass game, which is a Four Verts series. This is a play action air raid pass. We're going to use what we call a 911 process where we chunk everything together so we can be super fast for a 2-minute offense. We'll go through protections real quick and then look at the teaching and practice progression, and then finally the series. Let's take a look. So here's a quick overview of the series. The key here is we're going to use a classic 4 verts as the foundation. Giants all go. And then from there you can see we can build tags and variations into it, going from 5 verts, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down. The goal is to have the foundation of the 4 verts classic, and then you be able to pick the different variations you want to use for your program. All right, quick overview of our Pass Pro and some key teaching points. We use classic 6-man half slide pro, where we've got the back double checking or the H-back double checking. And then last, we can use a solo pro 5-man with the O-line, where the back and the H-back both free release. Key teaching point here with the quarterback. He's going to do a rocker fake and then a quick 3-step drop. His primary read phase is with the rocker fake on the inside receivers, and then his reset read is on the outside receivers during that quick 3-step drop. The back normally aligns towards the call, so we can be real fast with the 911, but you have the ability to switch that up, and he can actually make that fake and double check from either side. Here then is a look at our half slide pocket pro against the different defenses and the rules. If we look at the upper left though, half slide pro consists of the call side, which is to the left in a man principle, and then the center and the back side into a zone scheme sliding back. The back here in this case will double check the Mike and the Sam, always looking inside out. The key to quality execution is quality teaching. So we like to use what's called a drill 25. We've got 2 quarterbacks going with 5 receivers making the reads, so we can maximize reads and the decision making. So if we look at the diagram on the left, you've got quarterback 1 in the reset phase having to throw to the X or the back on a check down, but he's going to read the goat or the backside safety through the full phase. Quarterback 2 is going to read the goat and the safety, but now he has the ability to throw in the primary phase to the inside receivers, with a reset being the Z to his side. While that's going on, the O-line is doing what we call a pro hull, where they're doing their pass protections. We have the coach act as the quarterback here to make the calls so it's game-like, and then can orchestrate the different fronts and blitzes you'll see that week. All right, here's the foundation to the Four Verts series. Is out of 2x2 6-man pro classic 4 verts. So key point here, quarterback is going to always read the goat or the backside safety. In this case, there's one high, so it's simple. He'll use a play action rocker fake as his primary read phase, and then a quick 3-step drop as his reset. The reset technique is he's going to stomp with that first drop step and then get the second and third down quickly, not worrying about depth, but just giving him a ride phase and being able to quickly get to those outside receivers with the reset. So again, we're going to read the goat inside. The H has got to go up the seam on his hash, and then the A is going to stay on the hash reading that middle box. If it's closed, like it is in this case, then he'll stay up the seam on the hash also. If the middle box is open, whether there's 1 or 2 high, then after 6 steps, he bends and replaces and fills that middle opening. The outside receivers are going to run go routes, but they adjust their route stem depending on the corner's play. If the corner is inside, then they're going to do a 2-step and then 3 inside sluggo route. If the corner is outside, they'll do a same 2 and 3-step, but just a simple change of pace. And then last, if they're in a press, they'll do a 3-step shake and then go. The reason we do this is, again, the outside receivers are on the reset phase of the read progression, and so we don't want them to outrun a high school quarterback's arm. All right, first variation is just to go 5 verts. We're going to go ahead and use solo pro and free release the back, running a middle go route. the Z, the A, the H, and the X just run their classic 4 verts, and the quarterback will still read the goat backside, looking for the A and the H inside, but now his reset is to look for the back in the middle beating the mic. The quarterback now, since there's no fake here, is going to just go ahead and use his 3-step drop, read in inside deep down to the middle go. Next variation is a 10 tag 2. This is great versus man coverages. You can see what's going to happen is the X and the Z, instead of running goes, now run 10 and ins. Those are 10 routes. So again, quarterback reads the goat, primary on the rocker phase, looking for the A and the H. If it's a maybe, then he's just going to go to the X or the Z on the 10 route to the side of where his eyes are already at. We can do a 10 tag 3, and now we add the H back running the 10-yard in. Quarterback again reads the goat, looking for the A and the H inside now. On the reset then, again, picks the side where his eyes are at with the outside receivers on the 10 route. Next variation is a backpack 3 verts. H again runs his seam, X is now running the 10, but the Z and the A do a backpack concept. The A is going to run a slot fade going first, and then the Z will scissors underneath and run the bender read. You can see then quarterback still does the same read progression, but the reset, we typically look to the A on the slot fade. This here is backpack again, but out of a 3x1. Key point, any of the plays in the series, when we go out of 3x1, that number 3 receiver being the H-back in this case doesn't over seam route, what we call a 3/1 rule, meaning he's going to run over the backers and back over to the 1 receiver side, getting on that hash just like he would with the seam route. Nothing changes. Quarterback reads the goat, looking for now the Z and the H inside. His reset would be to the A on the slot fade or the X on the 10 and in. This is kind of the foundation to 3x1 4 verts, and it's the start of a deep choice series. What happens here again, the H or the S, the number 3 receiver, runs his over seam. The A runs the bender. We have the Z running the 10 route now, but the X on the single side is going to do a choice route where, again, if the defender is even, then he's going to leave him with the go route after the sluggo stem. If the defender is deep, then he's going to do a tracer at 14 yards, turning inside, tracing back down the stem. And then last, if there is no safety at all, it's cover 0, and he can beat the defender inside, then he'll just run a skinny post or glance route. Quarterback, real simple here with all the deep choices. He still reads the goat on his rocker. Again, if it's not a green light with the A or the H, then he's going to go right to reading the dog for the choice read. So they're on the same read progression together, the receiver and the quarterback. Great 3x1. We can do an expose out of this where, again, everything's the same as the deep choice with the X, the Z running the 10, but now we exchange the A and the H. The A will go first, and now they run the over seam, 3/1 rule, and the H will go ahead behind, rubbing off, and run the bender read. Great versus man coverages and 1 high safeties. We can do classic switches, which we call fillies, and real simple here. We're going to go ahead and have now the Z and go first on the bender and the H switching behind. So they just switch roles. We like to do this from a wing set, which we call ace. Now the X will go first and run his same go route, and the H runs the seam. You can see again, same read progression, same read key for the quarterback, just switching the receivers. We can do what we call a promise or Padres, where we get now the wheel on the backside, and we go ahead and have the A still run his bender and the Z running the 10. Again, nothing changes in the read progression. We're going to do rocker primary looking inside now with the A and the X, and then we would go ahead and go with a reset, thinking to the wheel with the H in this case, up the boundary. Again, another switch version, but we're going to go ahead and use the back now on the wheel, and the H will double check inside. Great if you've got a mismatch of a linebacker trying to run with a running back. Again, same read progression, rocker phase, quarterback's looking for the primary with now the Z and the X on the inside, and then looking as a reset with the B on the wheel up the sideline. Last is another 5-man solo pro where we use, though, a hot drag underneath. This is the one exception to the read sequence. We have the quarterback looking at the SAM for the drag if he gets blitz. If not in the primary phase, then he's going to go ahead and go back to 1 and 2 with the A and the back up the seams with a reset to the Z on a 10 or the H on the go. I always like to finish with the review session. I think that's the key to quality teaching. We always want people to know what we're doing, but we want them to know why also, but most importantly, how we're going to get this done. You can see now we start with a solid 4 verts foundation, but then we can go into many variations that fit the needs of your program, the wants of your program, and the people in your program. Thanks.